everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm doing a Tales of Rhazie video, slightly working on reference sheets. Okay, this is a test reference sheet. Okay, some of the reference sheets are gonna be different than others. Like I needed one for Twisted Shadows, or what I label as Twisted Shadows, which is cats who have the ability to get their pelt shadow eyes, so it becomes grayscale, more or less, with unnatural red to pink claws, and unless you have a color mutation, which Finny does, technically speaking. I do have one character, Finny, which is one of Shard's kids, so Claire's grandchild. Um, has a purple color tint mutation. Not all Twisted Shadows, by the way, are going to be like, oh look, our markings are visible. But this character, Heather, by the way, I don't know if this will be spoilers. I don't know when I'm posting this ref or re-uploading the kitten tree to show Heather's new design. As in, I got her full body done and I was not liking the whitish cream color and then the very much yellow. I also had to fix Lupine's name, but that's beside the point. But basically what happened was I needed a reference sheet so I could redo this. I actually just need to do Heather. Let me turn that off and this off real quick. I just need to redo Heather, who swapped spots with Smokey because Heather now has tuft ears, and I didn't feel like trying to figure that out, but I think I messed up this ear, which I'm so proud of. Regardless, when I redid this, yeah, I kind of messed that up, but that's beside the point. If I'd realized I was gonna be like that, I probably would have not swapped which side Heather and Smokey were on. But that's beside the point. This is not what this video is. Here actually is, oops, a bunch of the characters I made quick designs for. Where is that layer coming from? It's one of the layers that's supposed to be off. I don't know what layer that is. The joys of me messing with stuff and not paying attention. Is it you? It's you. Here's Loki. I was testing what he would look like if I made him black. Per request of Steven, aka Dieterman. I'm not changing it. I like the fact that he has white. His shadow form though, it's gonna be a different story. It's gonna have black. Because Twisted Shadows are not supposed to have white on their pelt because they are a shadow. Quote unquote shadow. So yeah, this template was made by Zenrift, who's in the D&D group. Originally it was just I'm messing around trying to figure out what Dahlia's design should look like, and ended up using this as, oh look, this is Dahlia's old design. I changed the eye color because she's now a kid of Ace and Dahlia. This is one of Sven's kits, one of Mink's children, one of Diamond and Loki's children, because spoilers, Diamond, who is Crystal's now existent sister, has kids with Loki, not by choice. Here is Diamond. This was just a random design. I'm like, yeah, that's Cloudx Sky. I am changing Sky to be a spotted tabby whenever I get to her reference sheet. Actually, no, that's not Diamond. That's another kid of Diamond. This is Diamond. here's a mink because I needed a mink for context. But here's what I originally did for Heather's, because I wanted to do the base, and I've been using Zenro's base. I'm still using my bust. The issue with this template right here is the bust is not its actual size, and the bust fits, technically speaking, right there. I could show another example of where the bust can fit if I have the right template size. Spoilers, granted. I've posted this on Day already before this came out. I know, I'm so distractible. I'm here like, yeah, this is gonna be a thing about Twisted Shadows. Gets distracted showing stuff. Um, this is Lady. What her actual name is, who knows? I don't think it's gonna be relevant. Same for Lord. Duke, aka formerly Koro, is the big bad evil, and Shiro is the ghost in his shadow, aka his brother, who is haunting him without being visible to anybody. That might change if he's visible to everybody. He might be visible to a very few cats, but that's random lore. Which I'm on. Here's where I have all my template stuff. I traced this paw for the Twisted Shadow paw, and then tweaked it a bit because this one toe was a bit too big. I need to actually add this part to the reference sheet. I might do that. I don't know. Um, Eventually I am going to be getting from Zenrift a kitten form, and hopefully adolescent and newborn, so I can show all the stages, because Heather would actually work for that, because we see her, technically speaking, when she's born. She's either born late fall or early winter. She's also one of the very few cats where I'm just like, yeah, I'll let her have a marking color that it's not visible on her bust. Because that's usually my general rule, is I have to have that color somewhere on the bust, which is why sometimes there'll just be a random extra marking. But I am rambling. So, um, what do I mean by Twisted Shadows and stuff? So I originally grayscaled her, but then I would have to swap the tail color, and that's too much of a pain in the ass. So what I'm going to do instead is this. Ah, shit. I can't do that. No. I didn't mean to turn you blue. Well, at least I now know what you look like if you were blue. I need to grayscale it first. Damn it. Well, at least I now know what she would look like as blue. I actually am gonna screenshot that and put Heather if she was blue. Because I didn't mean to do that. Actually, I could just grayscale it from here. I don't think that's gonna change the toes. Filter. I prefer brightness. And voila, her shadow form colors. I'm not gonna actually draw the blood on the toes. This is just so I have the marking colors. If it was, um, the only thing I'm going to redraw is the eyes and the teeth, in the inner mount part that shows right there, because that will not be grayscale. This will be colored. I need to do the eyes. What color eyes would Heather work for? Actually, I probably should color this first. Things I need to do and I didn't do before. Let me grab this and this. And the second one I grabbed was tongue. Click on Heather. The only reason why I'm shoving a Loki on Heather's ref, because it's true, I did shove a Loki on Heather's ref, is I'm adding a lore thing where Twisted Shadows, the blood on their paws expands more they kill. Technically speaking, how the Twisted Shadow thing works is their paws are their paws are stained with the blood of those they will kill, and their their eyes will drip the blood of those they will lose, or something like that. So yes, they do. It does look like they're bleeding from their eyes when they're crying in their shadow form. Okay. This is the tongue. I'm trying to think of how this works with Zen's thing. I think it works like this, because that would work as the tongue. And that's the inner mouth part, and I probably should wrap a black for the gums. This might share color markings with some cats. I don't know, I'm just using the photo. I should actually use my brush. Actually, probably should grab this. This might be a bit easier than. I'll just color. No, I'll just flip fill that black. Because I don't think I'll ever really draw gums. If I do end up drawing gums, I might just try reference taking a picture of my cat, and then. Because I do have a cat. I can use her as my reference piece for gums if I have to. Let me just click on this. I hate that I can accidentally this is an issue I have. I had it on the touchpad too, and I remember this being an issue with me when I first learned how to use a tablet. Accidentally pressing the button and using the right click eyedropper to a part of it. Okay, I'm going too light for this right now. Let me just fill this. I want to do this on Loki's as well. It's fine. This is what I get for not coloring this part and making it permanent part of the mouth. We're doing that to the claws as well. Especially since I knew I was going to make my own thing for the Twisted Shadow Paw. Okay. I don't care if this is not accurate towards the tongue area right now. This is stuff I should have done before I started recording, but might as well show you a little bit of the process. Like, I had just figured out how to do Heather's shadow form coloration roughly. But as I was saying, not all Twisted Shadows have their markings showing. Some of them, I'll just make it so it's gray or black or something like that. And then you'll get a random eye color of somewhere between pink and red. And then I'll be random about how much blood they have on their paws. Probably I'll give them at least covering the toes completely. But that's for randoms. Or cats, I don't know how much they've killed. Just watch, that's probably part of the inner mouth. Damn it. The issue is I'm not used to this template. Or at least the mouth part. So I'm trying to figure out what is what. Yeah, that would be part of the gums. Damn it. Um, like this? No. My cat currently is not yawning, so I can't take a photo of the yawn. So this is something that might get tweaked as time goes on for the inner mouth part. And I know this for a fact is the color I've been using. Oops. Didn't mean to do it that way, but I guess that works. Why is Flip Bucket sometimes a pain? I don't know why I'm fussing over the mouth. I really don't know. I should actually acknowledge the fact that my cat's mouth is pink when it opens. Granted, she has black spotting in there. Is that not what I don't know what's going on. Oh, I see what's happened. Damn it. I'll fiddle with the mouth fully later. Let me just grab the teeth and then I'll refocus. And it'll be a thing I figure out later. Because I don't want to spend the entire video fussing over the mouth. Because I just wanted this to be, oh look, here's the difference in twisted shadows and such. I will say this, both the claws and teeth, I do make like an offset of yellow. After all, they're wild cats. They don't have denture sticks. Granted, they probably have some sort of quote-unquote plant that they will mythically use to keep their teeth clean so their teeth don't fall out or whatnot. I will say this, I am on the fence about how much technology the cats know. Like, when I mean technology, I mean, like, being able to craft stuff. Like, I feel like the groups of power wouldn't craft, like, knives or anything, but they might make, like, occasionally try to make actual pelts out of, like, some of the animals. Maybe they would have basic knives and do that. That actually might make sense that the groups of power and factions and some of the more prominent rogue groups, I think, would have basic technology of, oh, they know how to do a slight skin slash tanning of to make pelt bedding and such. I'm starting to think about, and the bare minimum, I know the rogue group knows how to make freaking some sort of rope thing because that's part of how they are able to steal away mollies. But yeah. Oops, I want this on Twisted Shadow Coloring. But, Heather, far as I know, will not kill mini cats, and if she does, it's really just Eastern rogues. And that would be in cases of, oh, if she does not, she will die. Simply because, actually, this paw is this color. Whoops, I made a mistake there. No wonder I'm looking at this confused. Let me casually fix that. What happened was I did this side first and I flipped it. And then I forgot to do this. I'm on the wrong layer. This is what happens when you have multiple layers for coloring. I swear if this does the same thing. I have words for myself. I do not have words for myself, apparently. Me. Which layer is what? I do not know. Okay, and then this goes right there. Is that the same color, really? Apparently. Sometimes colors look weird and different when they're not. But yeah. Twisted Shadows have gone over a lot of changes throughout the years. Not so much on what their palette does. That's been pretty much the same since the beginning. The only thing I'm changing that was in the lore palette wise is it used to be that Molly's would have to have a gray underbelly or a gray or silver underbelly or some marking underbelly to make it so it's distinguished. But that was before the cats started getting gender differences. And the cats now do have gender differences, so I'm doing away with that. Plus, it didn't fully make sense that Molly's had that in the sense of the first Twisted Shadow is Talon. If we ignore Izzy, who was the original holder of the ability, because her power was split. Um, Basically, Talon had a black underbelly as a marking tainted gained or tainted to his palate or what, something like that. And it's because of, is this the same color? No, it's ever so slightly later, of course. Uh, but basically, it used to be that Molly's had to have gray underbelly. I am doing away with that because one, it's Talon who had that marking, and he's a Tom. Is that this? Is it acting like this is the same color? Did I grab the right color? Ah! I hate that when I use my scroll wheel to zoom out. It does that. This is that color. And this is this color. There we go. And then the toesies on her white toes are this color. Okay, that's correct. The issue of dealing with grayscale sometimes is the tints look pretty similar. Like that's another reason why Heather started getting red. I was trying to make a cream tint and it wasn't working. If it's too similar, it will the fluff bucket will literally act like it's the same. Okay, and now let's do the most important part of this. Figure out what eye color she should have. I think I should grab this as my base. Her eye gets lighter. So we use this. Oops, that is not what I wanted. It's this. Um, Another random thing for Heather is I decided she has a red mutation because, well, it's possible that she has an ancestor that was a red ginger. I'm not figuring out where in that genetic line that is. And that means Hazel herself is carrying red, which I don't fully like the idea of, in the sense of it's more traumatic in that sense, and I don't think that's a good idea. I just think since in my world, cream and red are both mutations of ginger, that Heather just happened to mutate a red because she very much has that cream gene, which actually does not like to be a natural full base color. It does not. Let's make your pupil like a nice dark red, maybe? Twisted shadows are weird. I don't have to draw her out of chromia. It's fine. Okay, that looks pretty decent. Also, I don't know what the hell is going on with my stabilizer. I don't know if it's my tablet pen, or my hand is that unsteady, or something weird's going on. Where I'm having issues with it being like very shaky. Hence why I have it at 80. And I very much want that to be like a very light pink. Oh god, that is not a good shade for that. There we go. I don't care if it's slightly purple tinted, it's fine. And then for her eye color, for her eye light, it'll be this color. Like, I don't care if the tint ends up being purplish. That's an okay thing, and since Heather naturally has a color mutation, it works fine that it bleeds into her shadow form a little bit. Okay, now I need to do the annoying thing. This. What did I have it at? 50 or is it 25? It's 25. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've done reference sheets where I need to care about the eye glow. Because this is actually how we determine their aura color. It's literally the eye glow color. So this pinkish color that's right next to the pupil is gonna be what the eye glow is in her aura color. Okay, I'm gonna grab this. Grab this. Just gonna put this dot here so I know. this. Gonna shrink to maybe 7. I can try a different in a minute if I have to. But the eye glow is the aura for the Twisted Shadow. And yes, I know I need to redo her eyes on her actual shadow form. And then after this, we'll do Loki. I'll skip the whole mouth thing with him. I was going to do Shadow Knight since he's easy, because his shadow form is literally exactly the same as his base colors. He's already grayscale. It's just, I don't have him already made in this template, so it would have been a pain. And why I say Shadow Knight is because I know for a fact he's killed a lot, so his toes thing actually goes up a lot. But Loki will work fine as a replacement. In the sense of Loki has a lot of murder. He's also an antagonist. I don't know if Loki um is gonna actually be an antagonist in the first series outside of what happens with Diamond. I might delay him, but he's inevitable. He will be a problem down the line. And this is what the aura is basically doing. Is wrapping. It likes to wrap around paws as well as glow out the eyes. Um, Twisted Shadows who have more control over their ability can actually just have one eye and one paw change and have their aura leak out instead of changing their full form. Granted, their full form gives them more defense. Also, their unnatural claws, technically speaking, do more damage. Because one minor fun fact is only 3 claws usually will equal a scar out of a cat for most fights, but Twisted Shadows, for whatever reason, it's 4 of the claws. 2 claws is still ignored. Unless it's like a bunny kick, aka hind leg, aka the feet. But yeah, it literally just wraps around the paw and goes around it. And then when it goes outwards, it actually will form around wherever it's attacking, which is in not Shadow Knight, in Corrupted Desires. Whenever I finish posting it, I think I actually posted the chapter where Shadow Knight dies. I could be wrong. Spoilers, Corrupted Desires. I kill Shadow Knight. And Ava, Shadow Form Ishal. Um, has her aura wrap around his neck, I believe. And then a wound forms from that. But they are killable. Some groups like River Valley have high disdain. Cliff Valley at one point, especially in the first and second draft, had disdain and hatred for Twisted Shadows for no reason other than their Twisted Shadows. Third draft, they're more viewed as, oh my god, no. I don't know what I'm doing, but no. Um, later pop up. But Twisted Shadows are more seen as a, well, look, we can use them for fighting, says Falcon. That's gonna cover the entire thing, isn't it? Damn it. Also, I might make their claws a bit different depending on the cat. So maybe some cats have a more pinkish claw, and some of them are red. So this is mostly Heather's shadow form. I just realized an error. I accidentally, since I was just copying pasting and flipping, I'm causing issues. I need to fix that. But yeah, that's the basic premise of how Shadow's reference sheets are gonna look, is what I'm thinking. Um, like extensions to it would be if we know them for Sense of Kitten, I would add in the kitten templates on top of this, so Heather's in particular would become bigger. Please note, most Twisted Shadows do not unlock their shadow form until they're 6 months old or 6 moons old. So Heather became a Twisted Shadow officially around her 6th moon. It can happen earlier, but that usually is more dangerous. The body can more easily handle becoming a Twisted Shadow if they are an adult. Not adult, at 6 months old when they start hitting puberty. Some cats, like in Moon's family, who I don't have up, maybe I'll, when editing this, if I remember, if I don't do just a straight cut, aka just cut the beginning and end, I will throw Moon's little family tree in there, where all her siblings are named more or less how they died, with one of them being named Icarus. Or not Icarus, is it Icarus? I don't remember what it's named. But it's basically the tale of Abraham, in a sense, because it's it's Abraham's daughter that Moon's backstory is roughly based on. So yeah, um, the brother is named after whatever Abraham's son is named after. Let me grab this. And then I named them more or less how they died for the sake of the tree. Sacrifice, affection. Um, and because Moon's family does unlock their shadow form earlier at a younger age, there's higher risk of them dying, and one of her siblings, I think it's one of her sisters, ends up dead because of it. And then her other brother was murdered for not being a shadow. She wasn't murdered for not being Twisted Shadow. She was kept for, oh, maybe we can set up a random Twisted Shadow. And then Moon proceeds to be her crazy self and murder them. On a very random note, there is one shot, which is part of Tainted Sunrise, that I might type up sooner than later to be like, hey, here's majority of the triggers that will happen in this series in a very condensed amount of time. So if this is too much for you, this series is not meant for you. Because my brain is dark. And I must traumatize my characters. Okay, so once I finish coloring Heather's eyes for her shadow form, we'll swap to Loki and I'll quickly do Loki's. I just want to get his base, show what his base looks like, and then his paws. His eyes won't be hard. I have his shadow form eye, technically speaking, unlocked because he has it because he got blinded and then it decided to bleed through. Granted, I might change some of Loki's lore. Maybe he's actually in a fair kit and shares fathers with um Scout, but then he's related to Bertha's siblings. I kind of find it funny that Scout has 19 siblings and Loki has less. I don't know. It'd be something for me to figure out. For instance, Loki's part of a faction, so they are sexist in that sense. So, meanwhile, the groups of power, for the most part, are normally not really sexist. It's just a lot of the current leadership is, in the sense of Slade, Falcon, I guess Jack, if you count Jack, to be named vices of Falcon and his inner circle. I want to say Frost is sexist, but he appreciates too much of the idea of having a lot of kittens in the group. So Frost is not going to help the situation. And I don't know how much of an if Frost will be an antagonist or not, or if you just cause some red flags in the group where it might be a bit much. And some cats have been eased into it, and then some cats were just born into the current structure and are not seeing the red flags, and those who do see the red flags see that it's not extremely bad as some groups, especially when you have some stuff to reference off of from Shadow Forest or Cliff Valley under Falcon's leadership, which there is some reference to. I meant to grab the pupil, not Heather's heterochromia, which she got her from her mom. Okay. Actually, was I doing not Heather, Hazel's family tree as my last Tales of Rossi video? I don't know. I think I was. Okay, for reference, I did name all Hazel's kids. Momentary distraction. Rogue Leader got a name. I named him Titan. Eastern Rogue Leader, I named Smog because there's gonna be multiple Eastern Rogue Leaders. Spoiler alerts, so thought it'd be fitting if I give him a name. Lotus because flower name. Lupine because flower. Lumi's name will only change if he's no longer born in winter. Because the whole reason why he got the name Lumi is because he was born during his first snowfall. So if he's no longer born during his first snowfall, his name will change to something else. I don't know what. We got Lamar, Borealis, Bay, Cora, and Mary. Please note, these designs are all set to potentially change when I do the full bodies. I'm satisfied with all Poppy, Walnut, Forest, Petals, and Burrs, Moki, and Sapphires. I doubt are changing. Like, at most, I need to tweak how Smoky's design goes from looking at this. Heather's I just got done. Sapphire, I'm very much convinced she's not changing. Like, the only thing she had changed was getting a purple eye, because I don't know if I'm still blinding her, and I want her to have a purple eye. Where am I? I'm over here. But, I'm trying to make a not family tree. Bleh. I'm trying to make templates so I have it for Twisted Shadows, because the issue I've been running into is, oh no, I don't have a design for the Twisted Shadow, because I only ever made one template, and it was for Shard. And it was just me grabbing her template and then recoloring it. It's a separate template. And it was not the greatest thing. Meanwhile, Shadow Knight is going to be very much easy in the sense of his design does not change. The only thing that changes when he goes into his shadow form is his eyes, and then his paws become bloody. Because he's already grayscale. Okay. And then let's swap to Loki. Why do I have this turned off? Probably so I remember which one was which. Okay, Twisted Shadow coloring. Monochrome. And then invert. I like how that works. It's actually kind of nice. And then his shadow form eyes are these colors. And Loki does not naturally have heterochromia. His eyes are technically speaking supposed to be gold. As I said, his shadow form eye just bled through when he got blinded. And Loki probably will be far faster than Heather in the sense of not me rambling, because me rambling will slow it down regardless, but because I don't have to figure out his colors so much, simply because I have this. Like, I don't remember if I actually gave him his Twisted Shadow Eye color. This kind of looked like Flint's, from my remember of Flint's. It's fine. And then we add a layer for this. We put it at 25. I zoom in. But I thought I would show you guys some of the process. Like, I'm still playing around with reference sheets a bit, so this might change, especially since there's some Twisted Shadows who, as I said, I don't need to show their shadow form below their normal form simply because their design does not change. Just their eyes. Granted, it could be just there as a clear reference of, hey, this is what they look like as a Twisted Shadow without the paws bloodied or whatnot. And then we'll go back to 10. Eye glue will also be right there. Okay. Let me shift this a little so I can. Probably won't show you me drawing the aura around the paws. I'm very simple with how I do refs in the sense of certain things don't change. Like the Twisted Shadow aura is always going to be their eye thing. And how you do the eye thing is you literally just do 25% of whatever your eye light is. And since Twisted Shadows are unnatural, their eye light is not white. It's somewhere between red or pink. Purple tinting is fine. And then that's always gonna be at 50% of whatever the 25% of eye light is. Just like how the nose color is always the patch color. And if you wanted to draw extra fluff in front of the nose, it would be the ear fluff. And I mean the inner ear fur. Because that's fluff. Kitten eyes, I have set eye color for. Don't have a blind pupil for albinos. Let me casually just do this. Oops, I'm on the wrong layer. Because of course I am. Probably want to keep the sheaths the same color throughout the reference sheets. But as I said, the claw itself might change in color for cats. Oops. Did I grab the sheath? And is that the sheath or is it the claw? I am mentally distractible. Oops. And then a darker red to symbolize blood. And since Loki is a murderer and has committed many murders, like Shattered Knight, it's gonna go up the paw. and be like something like this. And when actual blood gets on it, then there'll be splatterings and such, and multiple layers of blood, of course. And per se, you don't even have to say this is actual blood. It's the imitation of blood, to be more accurate, because it doesn't leave any trail of blood. If anything, it's more like dried blood, so maybe it should actually be something like this. But, yeah. So that's roughly how I'm probably gonna work Twisted Shadow reference sheets. Might swap this to be the same on Heather's in the sense of that. So yeah, things I have to find out or figure out at some point on my own. The mouth, because that was frustrating me. I need to finish up coloring this stuff. Put in the side effects, not the side effects. The information of for the Tom or the Molly, depending on which cat it is. I need to figure out what Heather's kitten litter size would be at max. I think Heather is large, but she could be average. I need to look at her previous reference sheet. Heather would be CD because she's clip light on. Loki is I have the name of the faction and it's escaping me. I'm thinking Shadowglade, but no, that's the faction that's the antagonist in Shattering the Night. What did I name Loki's faction? I don't remember. It's written somewhere in the text. Does not help it's nicknamed Loki's faction for simplicity. Very random note before we end. Actually, he's on here. Let me click this one. Not him. The Eastern Rogues actually, give themselves a different name than Eastern Rogues. If I remember right, it's Haven Colony is what they call themselves. But they're technically speaking a rogue group. Because they're quote unquote a haven from Twisted Shadows. Because they murdered Twisted Shadows. And members of Clip Fly Down because of reasons. But yeah, line art is a mix of me and Zenrift. As you see, these are my line arts. And then these are Zenrift's. One difference is pen pressure. We're using different pen pressures. But yeah. That'll be it for this little video segment. I need to fix Heather's eyes and then maybe ask Senric for help in regards to the mouth of how I should be coloring it because I am confused. At some point this will be posted to my data, regardless if I have plans to tweak this further or actually have Heather be shown as a kitten and then adolescent first. Because she's not born till the end of book 2. No, and the whole reason why I wanted, as I said, a reference for her was because I was restarting my kitten drawing with my drawing kitten sleeping together series, and I needed her full body. But also, I need to actually have a template for Twisted Shadows, and I think this works for the moment without me going too complex. This is going to be for characters that appear. I think what I'm going to do for characters who are just an ancestor is literally as I did for Duke's fam lineup, is just the bust and a side profile, two profiles if they are asymmetrical. If it's a minor asymmetricalness where it's literally just, I hate it when I scroll and it freaking moves. Like it's right here where she's technically speaking more or less symmetrical all the way through, but it's just mainly the face. This can work as an alternative right here. But more or less, I plan to be using this template going forward mixed in with my bust. Some things might be alternative. Like for instance, if I look at Duke's fam again and look at Duke, I did have to tweak the liner because Duke actually has sabers. His canines are extended. He has an overbite, not an underbite, an overbite. Minor fun fact, I likely will never give an overbite to any of my characters because my brain is like, oh look, I can give them an overbite. It looks cute, but an underbite, that just does not look cute in my brain. So that's the reason why I probably will never give an overbite instead of an underbite. Plus, cats, technically speaking, show off um their little teeth when they're sleeping sometimes. My cat Cinnamon does that all the time where she's sleeping and then I will see suddenly her little fangs sticking out, even though she technically speaking does not have an overbite. So it's just a little thing. Um, I don't know what the next Tales of Rhazie video will be. Um, I do know if it ends up being the anniversary vid, I plan to go over um the story and a bit and go over how it's changed throughout the 11 years. Currently it's still 10 years, but it's gonna be 11 years in July. And I plan to start starting that working on that video probably mid to late April, simply because July I'm gonna be busy with other things for multiple reasons. Now I think about it, I keep forgetting art breaks in July and I want to take part one year, but I don't even know if I can do that this year given to IRL things. But yeah, that's enough me rambling. I will see you guys in the next video. And this has just been a random video of me rambling about Tales of Rhazie and trying to give some more lore and context to Twisted Shadows. Visionaries can see the future and trap someone in their mind. Especially if you killed somebody, you can be trapped with a person you killed as you mentally can't handle it because they're killing you, or the memory is going to kill you because it is just going to overwhelm your senses or something, if I remember right, according to my mental lore. So Twisted Shadows and Visionaries are both deadly. One day I'll explain how it fully works, maybe. If you want something like that, let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you guys next one. Bye!